and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, colors. Post, colors. Forward, march. Center face. Left face. Forward, march.
First up on our agenda is delegations to be heard. I don't know that we have any.
We do not, Mr. President.
Okay. And not having any, we'll move right along to 2.2, which is LSIC, and I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Price.
Thank you, President Pauley. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming out this evening. As most of you know that have been involved in LSICs over the years, we have held this meeting several different ways during that time. The last couple of years, I believe, has been more a series of Mondays that we've done at the central office, and so this year we tried to do something different. And we incorporated that, as you saw this evening, with the art walk, and it looked like it was a very good success. I'm glad everyone came out for that. So this evening, what we're going to do is we're going to break into teams, and everyone will be given a room assignment. And we have some questions to help us develop our strategic plan from some of the things that become priorities throughout the district. And so the way we'll do this evening is go through, we'll take until, we'll have a set times period. We have people from the central office that will be in each one of the rooms to help the discussion. Although what we really want is to hear from the school LSIC committees and not us. What we're there for is to help guide the discussion, keep it on track as best as possible, but again, if we have something that's important to you that's not on there, we need to have that discussed in the room. We will have note takers in the room. We'll come back here before the meeting's over, share out. We'll do the same thing at Cabell Midland with our feeder schools there. And then in the meeting in March, Ms. Watts will compile all of the notes that we receive and present those to the Board of Education as we start developing our priorities for next year. So we appreciate you being here. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Watts. She's going to give the room assignments. And here we go.
Okay, so welcome everyone. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to have some of my staff members be your leaders to the room that you're going to. So the first room is the choir room. And this is for Huntington East Middle, Explorer Academy, and Altizer. You will follow, I know Debbie Smith. Debbie Smith, wave your hand back there. And Suzanne Stevens and Greg Webb. You will follow them to the choir room. So if you all want to go ahead and stand up, and they will take you to your location and we'll try to spend about 15 minutes on each question and then kind of convene back here for a report out. The next group will be here in the auditorium, and that is going to be Huntington High School, the Career Tech, and the Crossroads Academy. And Mr. Pauley will be in here with you all, and then Jeremy Baisden, it's over here, Heather Scarberry here, and Travis Austin will be your facilitators, and you all can move your stuff wherever you all want to go. And I actually will hand off the mic to you all, just so we just ask that everybody kind of maybe convene over in this group so we can have a good conversation after everybody leaves. The next group will be in the band room, and of course we put Miss Smalley in the band room. Pun intended. So Jason Jackson, Tim Stewart, and, and Christian Giles will be your facilitators. And that will be Huntington Middle, Southside Elementary, and Meadows Elementary. So if you all want to stand up and go with me into the band room. Miss Giles, did you give me the signing sheets? Okay, I've laid it down somewhere. I'll give you a room to collect signing sheets. The next group will be the show choir, or Gym B, I'm sorry. You'll be in the gymnasium, the small gymnasium across the floor. You'll be with Linda Childers, but your facilitators will be Drew Rodkin in the back, David Tackett right here, and King Thomas. Stand up, and you all can head over to Gym B. Oh, I'm sorry. Central City and Heights Saunders. Somebody's got to keep me straight. And the last group is Spring Hill, Highlawn Elementary, and Guyandotte Elementary. And you'll be in the orchestra chamber choir, and NASA will be with them. And you'll have Mike Krenzel as your leader. Where's Mike? There he is. Chip McMillan in the back, Dan Gleason, and Gina Barnett. So if you all want to follow them, we will be back. They have your questions, and I'll come together to get sign in, and then we'll try to get back here by 7:15 is the plan, and we're ahead of schedule. for Debbie Smith, Suzanne. Oh, Ryan. Right here. Heather. Jason Jackson, Tim Stewart, Kristen Giles, who's reporting out for your group?
I got it.
You're down here. Okay. Question 1. What strategies can we implement to better involve parents and guardians in promoting student well-being and academic success, and what resources do they need to be effective partners, and what tools? So, we'll go first with Huntington East, Explorer, Alta.
We set to streamline the Title I red tape for parent events, providing transportation for families who might need it, and planning ahead more so families were more aware of what was coming.
So for our group, we talked about being able to have students talk about knowing what the resources are that are available, making sure our Cabell County website is updated, maybe even having a subscribe button to calendars so that parents could add that to their calendars. Also, parents being able to talk to parents about moving up between the middle school and the high school, but also from the high school to post-secondary in order to be successful, and adding our related arts, CTE, and other teachers to our middle school events as we plan for middle school to move to high school.
Okay, now it is Huntington Middle, Southside, and Meadows.
So our group had some pretty good ideas. The big one that came out of the beginning was the parent-teacher day we have in October. They'd like to build upon that, maybe add one to the winter or spring, so you can have another kind of check-in later on in the year. Create some perceived value in those meetings too, so when the parents come, there's something to do other than just go to the parent-teacher meeting during that night. Tie in a scheduling component to it, because everybody shows up in the classroom at the same time to discuss things. Maybe set up in the 5-minute blocks. Streamline our communication tools. The website was mentioned. Possibly a template that we throw on Schoology for people to get information from there. That's pretty much it we had. So.
That's the group. That is Central City and Heights Homes.
So our group, first of all, they identified the PTO as a resource. You were talking about an elementary school, so PTOs are still, a big factor, a big part of the school. They both acknowledge that, PTOs are still very valuable, but they're not what they were 20 years ago. Heights Saunders is using virtual meetings now to increase participation. They're using Facebook to market the PTO meetings, and they're also using services like Remind, and also, they're still using a monthly printed newsletter they send out. The biggest thing that most schools mentioned was we need to make it as easy as possible on parents and give them plenty of notice. Central City is actually providing childcare for their meetings, and so that we thought was a pretty good idea. They're just using staff that are there that are volunteering to provide that child care, so that would encourage attendance. And they also expressed how valuable those parent-teacher conference days are. The one that we had this year. Heights Saunders was pleased to let us know that they had a 96% participation rate, so they had a lot of parent involvement that day. So that was kind of the big takeaway for schools.
So Mike or Spring, Highland, and Guidance.
Our group discussed looking at data for student needs, whether it's academic, social, emotional, or just their basic needs. Planning events centered around either student performances or sharing student work seems to bring out a bigger showing parents. Asking for parent input, I guess, throughout the year, maybe even at the beginning, and just seeing what might work best for families in general. Planning food and refreshments for evening events, and just varying the time of events, just in general. Resources, having good communication, and utilizing a variety. We've already heard quite a few of them, and just being consistent with that. donations or funds allocated for food or refreshments during those events, community donations, and just creating an overall excitement with students. So they're excited to bring their families in.
Okay, and just a reminder, I'll be typing all the notes up and I'll present in March to the board. And all the principals and will get a copy of the notes as well to share with their LSICs. Okay, thank you all. Question 2. In thinking about our technology resources, what do you think our area of focus should be in the coming year? I'm going to start with Mr. Krenzel, and we'll go backwards now.
Okay, our group discussed I think we're pretty blessed in this county, and just using what we have and build on that. They mentioned the importance of refreshers or trainings for your non-savvy parents or guardians. We know we have a lot of grandparents who stepped up to the plate to raise grandchildren, and sometimes just that technology, it doesn't come as easily to them. So, providing some guidance on that. Building or developing a school tech team with your students. How-to videos for parents, either utilizing YouTube or Facebook or the county website. Live streaming events for those who can't attend. Oh, and going back up to creating those videos for parents is they mentioned ideas for things such as how-tos for math, Schoology, iReady, showing them what their kids should be doing on their iPads, or how they can check up on their progress. Maybe even having something like attendance policy or supports for students, by students, videos by students. So.
Pass it to Mr. Rodkin for Central City and Heights.
So like Kelly said, this is for Central City and Heights Saunders. First thing, they expressed that, they were pleased with our iPads, the devices we have. We are a one-to-one county, so that's a strength that we have. That being said, some areas that, the discussion did surround is, making, and this is something Mike just mentioned with his schools, that making the software a little more accessible to parents. Something that maybe we could provide training to those parents so that way they're able to use, the parents and grandparents, people who are providing guardianship for our students, making sure that they have the understanding to be able to help their students with the software. Another area they said that we might want to focus on is educating and improving internet safety for students, particularly even at the lower grades, more and more just computer literacy, internet safety, and they suggested that perhaps counselors could help address that. And there was even a comment about certain programs that are available only at the secondary level, that there may be some value for the elementary students as well. So that was another suggestion.
Pass it to Mr. Jackson from Huntington Middle, Southside, and Meadows.
The group we looked at, one of the primary things that brought it first was the ability to content filter and eliminate distractions. Some examples of students being distracted by YouTube, streaming videos, things along those lines. Maybe implementing a better engagement without iPads in the classroom, balancing out between digital and maybe analog use instead, or perhaps even taking iPads completely out of the equation. Technology classes to address tech content in the future. AI learning, programming at the high school level, in addition to paper and pencil. Try to get to my list here. If you move it away from having iPads one-to-one, they're thinking maybe like a cart setup we had in the old days of having devices that were in the classroom. Another one mentioned that I think Mr. Rochin mentioned it and Mr. Krenzel, information literacy skills, which also need to include a parent component, so the parents can help out as well. And one of the benefits they saw was that we removed a lot of the games from the ability for the students this year.
So for Huntington High, Crossroads, and the Career Center, We talked about the durability of some of the devices that our high school students have. The knowledge of usage of basic computer skills. At the elementary level, you all talked about parental skills, but we're talking about our student skills. Having those tech skills that can transition regardless of what device they're using, but also to help their organization with technology. It's that gap in technology that we see our digital users having every day with a cell phone in their hand, yet saving and finding and locating information is what we have a gap in. That $50 a year amount that they pay for insurance, is this something that we could roll over if they didn't fill in that, or if they didn't use that claim? The option to purchase a device, we have that communication, but if we start that earlier, does that help our students with the buy-in of taking care of the device? The other thing at the high schools we have are those VPNs and browsers that get added to the computers when they should not be on there, which limits things that they can do on the computer because they've changed their device.
We also feel that maybe we need to get back to some paper and pencil stuff, and use technology to enrich or to create, and not just tapping apps. We felt like sometimes it's disruptive and a behavior issue. We do feel like it's developing some good skills for college. We do feel like it can sometimes undermine the development of spelling and grammar skills because the machine's catching it for them. And that it's also not necessarily always development appropriate for young kids, like particularly elementary age, to spend so much time on screens. And to echo you, like, I have kids in high school, and yes, like, she can do a lot of things on a phone, but, you know, find that document, sister, like, she can't do it, so, you know. But anyway, yeah.
That's just because OneDrive makes you have 3,000 different folders. We digress there. Okay, question number 3, and thank you all. These are great things that we've all been thinking of, and as we move forward, we'll try to figure it out. So number 3, what successes at your school or district are you most proud of? What do you consider as strengths and weaknesses in both your school and the district? So I'm just going to start with Mrs.
Right, at the Career Center, a strength was meeting kids where they are with the simulated workplace and those workplace skills. Also, the Career Center, the staff and the students working well together in that smaller environment has allowed our students success. At Huntington High School, the offerings of dual credit, AP, electives, and CTE programs that we have here in the site. Huntington High also said their club day. They have a club day, and students, that effort to make students feel like they belong to Huntington High School. And then their PLCs and teachers who are growing together as instructional leaders. At Crossroads, talking about those counseling services that our students are offered there. You want weaknesses? Okay. So when we think about education as a whole, making sure that we as educators are student focused. Not a particular pathway for everybody, but we're focused on what our kids need. Making sure our kids don't hear just negative, that we're focused on the positive things that are happening within our buildings, within our walls, that are positive for our kids. Making sure our info is coming home about options for our kids and early, so that we can address all of the needs of our students. Another weakness is attendance. Making sure our kids are at our schools. We have trouble with chronic attendance rate. And the last one was community bathrooms, those remodeling of the bathrooms.
So Altizer Elementary listed their tech team and the National Board Certified Teachers that they have on staff is a couple of things that they're very proud of. Explore Academy listed that we managed to lower staff turnover, which is great for stabilizing your programs, and also the good connections that we build with kids and relationships we have with kids. Huntington East Middle School talked about their therapy dog. Where's the dog? Somewhere. And that they, the real change in the atmosphere at Huntington East Middle School has become very positive over the last couple of years. Overall, we feel like there's a positive atmosphere in the district. It feels very different. It's very, very, very enjoyed. Attendance issues we also identified as a weakness. We also talked about how while technology does have its issues, a strength that we have with the technology is the ability to be flexible. Like, for example, the NTID days when we have those where kids are absent, they can make up their work, it's online. And then we also felt like another strength the district has right now is the communication is good. It's just the right amount. It's very pinpoint. It's exactly what you need when you need it. So we felt like that was a strength of the district.
In Huntington Middle School, Southside and Meadows, one of the big successes they mentioned immediately was the ability to be positive in the schools, finding the good things in students every day and making sure that it's recognized. The relationship of the staff with parents at all 3 schools was a real high mark for all everybody involved. The fact that they were there and they're doing things to make sure that they keep that going. AR was mentioned for Southside. There's a mention of how the focus on education would be wonderful. However, there's so many external influences that cause us to have to kind of differentiate from that at times. Seeing teachers at ball games, events, and other activities was a huge bonus for them as well. And the weaknesses, considering that it's in the middle of a neighborhood, parking is a problem with Huntington Middle and Southside. The facilities in the city limits cause a problem for athletic teams and other things that happen during the day. There's just nothing there. Bringing baseball in for middle schools, also bringing in softball, soccer, but perhaps even co-ed was a weakness. The weakness was the HVAC system at Huntington Middle and Southside. Attendance, as mentioned previously, there's some issues with attendance in our schools, and the ability that we can't really act upon it until so many days have passed already.
For our group, we have Highland as an Apple Distinguished School. They also mentioned great community support, a lot of businesses reaching out to help them with different programs they've got going on. Guy and Dot mentioned their Walk 2 intervention program. Sorry, I had to zoom in. Spring Hill mentioned that they had two teams go to the regional science fair last year, and one of them went to the state. This year, they have one going to regional, so they'll see how they fare in that. Community sports partnership. They also have a partnership with Marshall med students that comes in on a weekly basis. They did mention, actually, all the schools did mention that as far as the LSIC process and some of the things that they've asked for, that the board has delivered on when they're able to. Spring Hill in particular mentioned that they got a new fence in an area. Debris or overgrowth in some areas was taken down, so it made everything a little bit more presentable and inviting and safe. They also stated that they have Big Brothers Big Sisters on site. Guy and Dot mentioned that they have a new Big Brothers Big Sisters program starting up with special medals. They also, Guy and Dot also mentioned that they're pretty proud of their after-school programs with tutoring and robotics. And it was mentioned that just locally, HPD has been had pretty good response when schools are in need. But also our central board office.
HPD and Huntington Police.
HPD.
HPD.
Yeah.
I don't know if you all heard of that.
All right, and for Heights Saunders and Central City, they had a list of strengths, and just kind of summarizing those. First of all, they felt that the staff was maybe the greatest strength. And they said that the staff set high expectations, and then they do everything they can to deliver on those expectations. Central City mentioned how dedicated their staff were, and Heights Saunders said that the environment that they have at their school, their staff feel valued and they feel like they're being treated as true professionals. I think that's what we would all strive for. The climate and culture, they said that it's preached that kids come first, and so that's their focus at the school level. While, you know, some of them are, you know, they're proud of their test scores, you know, even if scores are still on the rise, you know, they are reporting that the progress that's being made. They're very proud of that. And ultimately, another theme that we saw was that, you know, the teachers and the staff at those schools are doing everything they can to meet the needs of the kids, no matter what it takes. Some weaknesses, you know, they obviously, first of all, recognize, you know, no matter how good you are, there's always a little bit of room to improve. So just that continuous improvement model, you know, that's something we want to continue to focus on. I think everyone mentioned attendance, student attendance. That is yet again another issue with these two schools. You know, they wish the parent involvement was a little more, you know, even though that was something that we talked about earlier tonight. You know, they wish that parents were a little more involved. And, you know, just some of the things that they said, you know, just feels like in the world of education, that there's too many things that ultimately are not centered on kids. That's an area that they wish that we could
Okay, thank you all so very much, and great conversations. I didn't get to stay, but I tried to listen to every question. So like I said, we'll start recording all these to have those presented probably the last board meeting in March. And we'll get all the principals a copy so they can give to your LSC. I can't thank you all enough for everything that you do. We couldn't do our jobs without you, so I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Hardesty.
I want to reiterate what Ms. Watt said. Thank you very much for your time this evening, your effort, and the honesty with which you came to the table today. We can't improve unless we know where we need to improve, so I certainly appreciate that, and thank you for what you do every day. It's a big job to take care of kids every day, and you all do it well, and I thank you. Take the ball.
Moving along in our agenda, we are at 5.1, which is board member comments, and I'll just start by thanking everyone for your involvement in the LSIC process, your involvement in this exercise this evening, and your commitment to doing what it takes to make this school system and our schools better and more able to serve our students in the way that it needs to. So just thank you so much from me. Any other board member comments at this time? Okay, I guess nobody else wants to speak. And so that just takes us to 5.2, which is adjournment. I'll take a motion to adjourn. We have a motion from Mr. Abez and a second from Ms. Smalley. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you so much.